All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. And as you can see in the last four videos, I should say, I've been doing this ArrayList demo, and I did it for a GUI application where I combined stuff that I had in my validation library. So what I'd like to do right now, and I'm going to show you everything I'm going to do. So this is what I finished up last time. So let's do a file, save all. And I'm going to get rid of this, I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this. So in other words, what I have left is my validation both. That's what's up here right now. All right? So that's the first thing I wanted to do. Secondly, I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to go into my programs. I'm going to find the latest BMI console app, which looks like it's here. I don't know if I've got a sixth. No. So fifth iteration, BMI console. I'm going to copy that and paste. Let me stop for just a second here. All right, I didn't think you'd have to hear in the background. You would really want to sit and listen to a grandfather clock chiming. So this will now be sixth iteration BMI console. Get rid of the word copy at the end. All right, so I've got that. So let's open it. As always, the first thing I want to do is change the name here for my proj file from 5th to 6th. And then I'm going to open it and change it to 6th in here. And here. And we will save this. And let's close it. And let's close this too while we're at it. All right. And now let's go and add this to our list of projects. So I'm going to come in here. Again, we have only the validation both open right now. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to right mouse click, choose Add Existing Project, go find it under my C# programs. Again, it was 6th iteration BMI console. And we'll bring in the proj file, and we should have it now. All right, so what we basically have here right now, what we have here is the latest and greatest, so to speak, all right, console application here. Now, we should be able to right mouse click on this, status startup, and I should be able to run it, and it should run. Okay, so please enter a height. Let's just do something valid, 72 and 111. And it says following errors were found. Huh. Okay. Well, it doesn't like something. Height can't be empty. Height must be valid. Weight can't be empty. Weight must be valid. That's good. Height must be a valid integer. Weight must be a valid integer. That's good. Height must be between 12 and 96. Weight must be between 1 and 777. That looks good. I don't know why it wouldn't work. Okay, but that's okay, because we're going to rewrite the whole thing right now. All right? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to find my program file. And it's now the 6th iteration. All right. And you can see all those comments. I'm not going to read any of them, but here we will add ArrayLists and attempt to make a better version of the BMI console app. All right, just leave it like that. All right, I still want to use all this stuff. So I still want to come in here and I want to use the min height, the max height, the min weight, the max weight. The min optimal BMI, which we said before was 18.5, the max optimum BMI, which is 25, and the min optimum overweight BMI, which is 25, and the min obese OBI, which is 30. So we'll use all those. We can still use these things. I mean, the underweight, optimal weight, overweight, and obese. So those are our constants. But let's come in and add our global variables, which are going to be our array lists. So I'm going to have, just like we did before, I'm going to say static first, static, gotta say it's an array list, first names equal new array list. All right, and I'm going to copy that. Well, we can use this one too. There's the last names. All right, and we need heights, we need weights, we need BMIs and BMI statuses. All right, we got those two. All right, so as far as I can tell right now, we now have added all of our array lists that we needed. All right, there are 6, as you can see. One for the first name, one for the last name, one for the heights, one for the weights, one for the BMIs, and one for the BMI statuses. All right, so we've got all that stuff in there. And let's go into main. Let's go in, and we've got here welcome to version 5. Let's see how much of this we can change. All right. We had used before a Boolean that we called keep running. So I'm going to put that in here, bool keep running, and I'm going to set that equal to true. All right. Now, welcome to BMI version 6. And I'm going to get rid of everything else. There's a lot of errors in here now anyway. All right. Now, all these things, calculate BMI, etc., write out statistics, they're all graying out because my main is now gone, for lack of better words. All right. So I'm going to say here, while keep running, what do I want to do? All right. Well, first of all, we have our using validation lib, so that's good. We have our using static system.console, so that's good. We have our using system.collections, which allows us to use these array lists. We didn't have that in there, we'd be getting error messages, I believe. All right, so let's write a menu. So I'm going to create a console menu. All right, so let's start with clear. We'll always be able to clear then. So let's do a write line, and we'll say BMI calculator. All right, and let's put after it, let's put another new line. So we'll put in here, put in a 1 to enter new, not a patient, new person, info. Enter So enter a 1 to input new person input, enter a 2 to view all existing records. How about we'll say instead of info, we'll say record here. All right. And let's see. Let's have a couple more. We'll do a write line. Enter a 3 to clear all records. And finally, we'll enter a 4 to exit the program. All right, and I don't really need that colon there. Okay, so we will do another write line here. We'll start it out with a \n, and we'll say, please enter a 1, 2, 3, or 4 now. In fact, we'll make that a write. All right. Now that's going to be our choice. So let's create a variable for choice. So string choice, we'll set it up originally to be equal to nothing. All right. So choice equals readline. Now we can check right here. We could force the user to enter a 1, 2, 3, or 4. All right, we can do that. Or we can just basically throw them in right now into a switch statement. All right, which will kind of force them to do that anyway. But let's take a look at what it looks like right now. So file, save all. And don't worry about it not running or looking goofy or anything else. That's totally fine. All right, BMI calculator. I could put some underscores here. I could move that over. So enter a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now it's not going to matter. I can put in a 1. Nothing's going to happen. All right, doesn't matter what I put in there. Let's move this over a little bit. So let's put a couple of those in there. And when we get done, let's put in a bunch of underscores. And we won't put this in here like that. Again, this is going to probably take a little bit of work, so it looks halfway decent, but that's all right. Yeah, I got to move that over. I think it only needs one tab here. And we can put it one tab here too. Okay, that doesn't look terrible. And I've got about 3 or 4 too many of these, but so let's remove 4 of these. All right. So file, save all. And where we've got this, let's put a space here too. All right, so file, save all, and let's run this again. Okay, that's a start. Again, not great, but it looks okay. Let's do this too, just because it's all being pushed. So \t, \t, And let's just grab one of these. There. And let's just make sure it looks okay, and then we're going to go on. Oh, didn't do that one. That's okay. But you can see it's now looking a little bit nicer, so let's fix that third one, and then we'll go on. There we go. Doesn't look bad. It's a start. How's that? And let's do this too, so it's not up at the top of the program. There you go. So it looks fine now. All right. Now we can do all sorts of stuff in here. All right. For instance, we could say if it's not a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4, we could just have them return or do whatever. Let's just put a switch in here. So there's our menu. In fact, let's do this. We've got while keep running. We've got create a console menu. Let's create a console menu. Static. Actually, this is going to return something. Let's make it a string. And we'll call this create menu. There's that. All right, it's giving me an error because that says not all paths return a value, which is true. So we'll return choice. We didn't make that in here, so string choice. I didn't copy that over. There you go. So return choice. Should run the exact same way that it does right now. Okay, so we will come in here, and we will say choice equals create menu. And if I run this now, it should run, and it should look virtually the same as it did. There it is. Okay, so we can put in anything we want, 1, 2, 3, or 4, etc. All right, so let's do a switch on choice. Now we have 3 or 4 valid cases. So case 1, we said what we're going to do there is we are going to, if it's a 1, input new person record. So let's just call these what they are. So we'll call this input new person record and break. Now that doesn't exist, which is why we're getting an error. So case 2, and we said here view all existing records, so we'll call it that, view all existing records. Oops. And then we'll break. Try that again. Case 3. And for the 3, we said we would clear all existing records. And again, we're getting errors here because none of these exist right now. And break. And finally, for case 4, all right, we want to exit. All right. Now, I don't remember, so I'm going to try something here. I'm going to put in here validation both dot, and I didn't know if we had written an exit routine in there or not, so let's just leave that out. For now, we'll just say break. All right, now before we finish this, let's go look and see if in our validation library, our validation both, or our validation, we have anything in here for exit. And it doesn't look like we do here. So do we have anything in here for exit? No. All right. We can't just exit the program. You know what I'm saying? We could just, so I'm making this again a lot harder than it has to be. So let's go back into here. And we'll just say, let's do this. Cleanest way to exit a C# console application. And it looks like it's environment.exit0 or application.exit. We'll use the environment.exit0. Okay, so that one should work now, but the other ones won't because they don't exist yet. So let's comment out view all existing records and clear all existing records, and let's write the first one. In fact, we should be able to write all of these. They're not going to do anything yet, and that's okay. So I can now uncomment this one and quickly put in this one. Now again, these routines won't do anything because they're all empty, but they can now all be called and there's no error. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do in here is I'm going to come in and write the order rather, in which I do these does not matter a bit. All right. But the hardest ones are going to probably be the first two. I've already got the fourth one written. So let's do enter a new record. All right. So let's go to this input new person record. And we will put in here in this function, we will let the user input a person's first name, last name, height, and and weight. If all pass validation tests, we will add the input values to the associated C# array lists. All right, and then we'll test it and see if it appears to at least work. All right, so let's have string first name is going to be equal to, now we've got that get validated string. There's something with validated string. I think, invalidate, what do we have? Validation both dot validate required string. Okay. Now it's giving us an error because we haven't finished yet. And it says we need a Boolean is valid and a string for the message. That's what we're going to use in there. But it needs to be passed in an input and a field name. Okay? So that input, and again, what we call this is up to us. We'll say enter first name. All right. And we will call the field name first name. All right. So it doesn't like that. So we'll just call it first name. All right. Now it doesn't like something. Let's see what it doesn't like here. It says cannot convert type Boolean is valid string message to string. Well, let's take a look at that particular routine in there. Okay, that's invalidation both, and it's down near the bottom. So one we created earlier. There's validate required string. So we need a Boolean for is valid, and we need a message. So we need that input, and we're going to return a Boolean in there. Can we do this? So that's the first name. I know what I want to do here, but all right. I'm at 28 minutes. I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop here. We'll continue on in the next program. But what you are going to see, if you look real quick, let me comment this out. And what you'll notice is we can run it. It's not doing much of anything, but it doesn't break. Now we can enter in a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. 4 works. It closes the program. And it tells us we exited normally. All right. So again, we have to do the 1, the 2, and the 3. And we're going to do those in just a moment. Be right back.